Hi guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the lettering for the gnome hat. And what we're going to use is the letter tab and quick font. So there's two ways to get to quick font, through the font manager and then also through the accessories. We're going to use the accessory link for this one just because it's also going to show those that have the free software how to create their own font if they so choose. So we're going to click on accessories and we're going to choose Premier+2 Quick Font. What this is going to do is load the Quick Font screen up, wizard up, and we're going to choose our font. Now, every font on your computer can be used as a embroidery font. Some work better than others. Some need to be satin, some need pattern fill. So there's a lot of variations and some things just don't work and you won't be able to use quick font to do that. But for this project we are, and I'm going to use the font Comic Sans. I like this font. It's very similar to a font on my Mac called Chalkboard, which is the one I'm using for the Mac lesson. So we're going to use the Comic Sans one. You can use whatever font you want. It applies the same way, but this is the one that I'm choosing. The style you can choose from regular, bold, italic, and italic bold. Some fonts you're going to want to bold. Now this one I am. Regular, it should be fine, but I actually want mine a little bit bolder, I think, just to give me that look that I'm going for. So that's what I'm going to choose bold. Again, you don't have to, especially if your font is already bold. So file type. So I am using the Premier+2 embroidery system because this lesson is designed to do it in the lesson or in the software, create a file because it's 2 steps. Some people will be able to do both steps, some people will not. So if you do not have a purchased version of the Premier+2 embroidery system, you're going to choose for using on my embroidery machine, and you're going to choose either Husqvarna Viking or FOF. These are the only 2 machines that you can use this with. So if you have a Brother or Bernina or Babylock, you will not be able to use this feature. Okay, so once you've choose that, your character set is going to be extended. That gives you your numbers, your exclamation marks, and things like that. And we're going to go ahead and hit next. Okay, so next we get to choose our pattern fill, satin line, all those things. So satin is generally a good one when your letters are small. I don't particularly like the way that this looks as far as satin, and I do want a pattern fill. So we're going to choose pattern fill, and it's going to regenerate. And then I'm going to choose the stitch options. Right now I have this strange pattern because I was doing a different program or a project, and it does default to the last one you used. I am going to just choose the generic under standard 1. Oops. Standard 1, and I'm going to choose pattern 3. And the density, I do like it thicker, so I'm going to choose the density as 2. And my underlay, I'm going to do as low, and my angle, I'm going to turn to 0 because I don't want that angle in there. And I'm going to say OK. It's going to regenerate a preview. Now the size that it's going to spit out is the minimum is 20 and the maximum is 120. 20 millimeters is, like it says, about 3/4 of an inch tall. The way you get smaller lettering is to use that satin column choice. But this is the one I want. We're going to leave the output sizes as the computer says. Now, for those of you that are using the free software and you're doing this to make a font on your embroidery machine, it's going to give you an output size. You're going to tell it what size you want the font. We are going to be using a 20 millimeter font to create our word. So on output size, you're going to put 20 millimeters, and that's going to give you that correct font size. Joining point, continuous is used for like cursive. Nearest point is going to do like if you're doing a B and your next letter is an A, it's going to do from the bottom of the B to the bottom of the A, and so on. Baseline will always be along the bottom. Thread colors, you can choose what thread color you want to default the threads to. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a red since we are doing 4th of July for mine. And you'll see that it pulls up red, and that will be the default color. You can always change it later. This is not set in stone. You can always change it like you normally do. But for this, you know, I'm going to do my preview in red. We're going to hit next. This is going to generate our font, and it's going to give it a font name. You are more than welcome to change the name if you so choose. However, it chooses a name based on your selection. So Comic Sans was the name of my font. The B stands for bold because I did bold it. The F is for fill. The E is for extended because we did the extended set. And 20 and 120 is the size it is. So those are what those letters mean. We are going to save it to My Fonts, and that's going to pull up in our My Fonts category. You can also, if you are using the free version, you are going to save it to your USB stick or folder. If you're using the free version and chose that option at the beginning, you'll be able to click on those 3 dots, and it'll bring up your File Explorer so that you can choose where you want to save it. You can print a catalog, so if you were like running a business and wanted to show people the fonts, you can print a catalog. You can also go through and preview each letter. This is very handy because sometimes I pick out a font, and that font, one of the letters that I really need, just looks terrible. And that will determine what font I do. All of these are looking great, so I'm not too worried about it. So we're good, and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Finish, and that's going to generate and save my font. Okay, we're going to be back to our hoop, and we know that our lettering needs to be 6 inches and cannot be more than 6 inches, or it's not going to fit in the area we have. So the way I determine that is I choose View, and I change my grid size. Now I know that 25 millimeters is basically close enough to an inch. So I'm going to type in 25, and if I hover my mouse over it, you see that it is 0.98 inches of an inch. If I go up to 26, it does go up, so that is a 1 inch, but it's a little over. For this project, I'd rather it be a little small than a little big, so I'm going to go with the 25. If you want to go 26, that's fine, but I'm going to use the 25. And then I'm going to choose Home. Oops, I'm at Letter, sorry. Okay, so now on my screen I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to fit just perfectly in this area. Now we're going to click on the Show All button, and we're going to go to our My Fonts. And the category is on the left in bold, and here is My Fonts. And my font was called Comic Sans, and it is red, so it's going to be right here, and I'm going to choose that one. Now you guys are going to type in Welcome. In all caps is the way that I have the original one done. And you're going to choose 20 millimeters. You are not going to choose the vertical block. When you choose vertical block, I'm going to show you what happens. And maybe it won't happen with this lettering, but the original lettering I chose, it did. So we're going to choose vertical block, and I'm going to say Apply. And number one, the gap is not enough, obviously. But also, if you notice, the E is not technically centered. And that really bothered me. It looked funny to me visually, and I did not like that. I'm really probably sure it is probably correct. But with this font, it looks better than the original font, and I'll show you what the original font looked like. So the original font was, I think I did it in Cambria. I think is what I used for the original font. I think it was. So let's see. Yeah, this was definitely the original font. This one really bothered me. The W and the E that is not centered, and I did not like that at all. So the way that I ended up doing this is not using that vertical option, the vertical block option. So we're going to delete that because that's not what we want at all. And we're going to choose, oops, back to my fonts. And on this font, we're going to need to add a gap. So we're going to add a gap of 3. And we're going to choose horizontal block and say, and this is the part you need to make sure. You're going to choose individual. Okay? And then hit apply. All right. Once that's done, our letters are going to all pop up and they're going to be normal looking, but they each have little boxes around them. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab those and we're going to come in and move them around so that we can get them placed. So W and E are the last letters and C would be the center letter. So I'm going to center the letter C and then move the letters into place from there. Hopefully this font. And I'm just going to kind of, and you don't have to worry about too much about the center right now. I'll show you why in a minute. And then your E. And this looks like it is going to be over our 6 inches. That's okay, we'll fix it. Okay, so once that's done, you're going to select using your mouse and your control key on your computer. You're going to hold down your control key while clicking on each one of these, and you're going to click on the home tab and you're going to go to alignment, and you're going to go to vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, and you're going to say align center. That is going to center all of your letters. Now, we are over the size on this one, so what we can do is we can select each one, actually select all of them again. And because we're still having the green boxes, which is editing, we're going to go ahead and we are just going to shrink these down. Okay, that's going to fit in my 6 inches. So we are now centered. Our letters are centered with each other. And now we're going to click on alignment and we're going to do center and hoop. All right, so we now have our welcome, just like we needed, and we are pretty much ready to go for our next step. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut this, and we're going to open up another module. I'll paste that back real quick. If you do not have the modify module, so if you have Premier+2 embroidery or Premier+2 extra and have not purchased the add-on modules, you cannot do the next step, and your welcome is done, and you can export it to your USB stick or send it to the cloud or whatever. If you have one of the higher end softwares, so Premier+2 Ultra, or you have bought the add-ons, you can do the next step. And the next step is, like I said, we're going to cut it, and that's going to put it on our clipboard. Make sure it goes to your clipboard. And then you're going to click on the modify module, quick link down at the bottom. Okay, that's going to open up into a hoop. You are then going to paste your welcome. It's going to ask you a question, and it's going to fix it as an embroidery, which means you can't go back and change it. And we're going to say yes, that's perfectly fine. And once you have that done, you're going to click on the border tab at the top. You're going to choose border embroidery. You're going to change the margin from 10 to 0. And then you're going to do a triple stitch. What this is going to do is it is going to create a little border around your lettering. I think this is a really cute thing and I really like it. So then I'm going to click create overlay border. Okay, that's going to put that border all around it. And then we're going to go to our Home tab. Once we're at the Home tab, we can kind of see it. And if you unclick it, it'll show you the blue around it. And we're going to go and we are going to merge all these colors into just 2 colors. And you're going to use that little button right here, which is called merge into previous color. And this way, I only have 2 colors stitching out. It's not going to tell me, oh, stop and change the color. I don't have to worry about it. I've already done it and it's all set. Okay, so once you have it, I'm going to go ahead and do a little life view. And there it is. This is the look that I'm going for. And in the original one that I showed, the black and white one, the letters were done with black with a gray line around them. I think it turns out so cute. I really like it. And I think it gives it a new look and it teaches you guys a different technique. Okay, once you're ready to go, you're going to go File, you're going to go Export, and you're going to just follow your export menu along just like you always do and export that design, and then we'll load it up on our machine.